How do you strengthen background checks? Is the information not going into the proper database? What is the failure?
Well, what we found in the Texas shooting, here's an individual that was discharged from the military dishonorably based upon spousal abuse. That was never updated in the system, so he would have been denied.
Just a mistake.
Yeah, but this is the federal government, the military, not updating it. So there's so many other areas. And in technology today, this should not be the case. We should have instant ability to have that background check.
And even when you go to buy a gun, you could just put your fingerprints. So, I mean, there's got to be technology to make it quicker and easier to actually assess who you're dealing with.
Now, in California, you know, I do a fingerprint, but it's still paper, and it goes through a 10-day process as well. But this individual, more than 20 times, the police officers at his house, he literally said he was going to be a school shooter. The FBI knew it. How could this failure go forward? And then when you have a law enforcement officer at the school hiding while the children are in there, so many failures here.
Do you expect any legislation on this year?
Oh, I believe so. We've already taken some action last year, but I think you're going to look more and you're going to see more legislation.
Let me switch to immigration, specifically the relationship between local and federal immigration officials in your home state of California. This is a big topic.
Now, don't blame me. I'm opposed to what they're doing.
Right, but the mayor of Sanctuary City, Oakland, warning this weekend that they're warning ICE agents were preparing to conduct a major enforcement operation in the Bay Area. So she made a decision to basically warn the bad guys that ICE agents are going to be making arrests. Was that the right move?
No, definitely not. The whole concept of having a sanctuary state in California, that you're going to pick and choose what law you're going to uphold, goes against everything that makes us the United States of America. It goes against the core of who we are. That's why it's so disturbing of what they're doing, that they want to pick and choose. What would stop the next county or the next city to say, I don't want to live up to the Endangered Species Act, I don't want to live with other laws? That, to me, is so offensive in the process. And knowing the past of what we've had, the own cases in San Francisco where an individual was murdered based upon it, an illegal person who came here 5 times with a weapon. This, to me, is appalling.
Is it, at this point, I mean, they're sanctuary cities. I mean, is there nothing to be done about this? How does a city overstep the laws of the federal government?
The United States cannot sustain himself if this continues to happen. We have taken action inside the House and inside the Senate. And I know the President is appalled by this as well.
The President said that he would actually consider taking ICE agents out of California. Would that actually, was he joking, you think? I mean,
well, no, I think he was making a very strong point. But as a Californian, I fear of that, right? The number one of the final most important things that we do as a federal government is we protect our borders. Think about what would happen. And the fear would be is, yeah, once you come into California, you come anywhere else across the country, and what would happen there. And we know the dangers of that. This is why I think this individual is wrong, especially as an elected official. What is it teaching the rest of the country or the rest of the constituents that they have, that you're going to pick and choose what law you want to uphold? We are a land of law, and I don't understand that how we can sustain this or continue this.
Yeah, I agree with you. Democrats in California snubbing a party icon. What about this? Nearly 2/3 of the party's delegates voting against endorsing Senator Dianne Feinstein for a 5th term this weekend. What do you make of this lack of support for Feinstein in your home state?
I think it shows how far the Democratic Party is in California. I read a headline this morning that Nancy Pelosi is the most conservative Democrat running in her own seat. So think of that, of what the nation looks at where Nancy Pelosi is, and she's the conservative Democrat in San Francisco. They are so out of step with the rest of the party and so out of step with the rest of the country. That's the fear that I have being an individual in California as well. Remember, this is what brought us Ronald Reagan. This is a land that understood, but look at the challenge that we have now. The highest gasoline tax, the state tax, the highest of being. We are losing people day after day that create jobs based upon the oppressive taxes that Governor Brown and that legislature puts in.
Yeah.
And think of the number of Democrats that had to resign. They had to remove a member from the Senate, a Democrat, who was the roommate of the individual running against Feinstein, Kevin De Leon, because of sexual harassment just last week.
That's incredible, actually. What are you thinking about going into the midterm elections? It feels like the chances for the Republicans to keep the House has improved after the tax plan.
Well, we've improved drastically because of the tax plan. I want every person out there to check their check this month because they're going to get more money in it. 90% of all Americans will. Their own electricity bills are being lowered because of the tax benefit. And think of the millions of people who got those bonuses but Nancy Pelosi thinks they're just crumbs.
That's right.
You know what happened to me Saturday? I was in Ohio giving a speech. I'm leaving the hotel, and the door person as I leave says, Congressman, thank you for the tax cut. I got more money in my paycheck this month. Think of that to all Americans across. And if the Democrats were able to take control again, they would repeal that. They would actually raise the taxes on Americans.
Your comment on the FISA memo, the Republicans' FISA memo released with redactions but the Democratic rebuttal to that was released over the weekend. FBI and DOJ officials did not abuse the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act process, omit material information, or subvert this vital tool to spy on the Trump campaign. That was the first sort of declaration in the 10-page Democratic memo.
Well, that is totally wrong. And if you look at the memo, even what the Democrats wrote, they had 4 times to tell the FISA court, which is very unique, that this was paid for by the Democrats. What they did, they put it in a footnote so people couldn't see it. Secondly, they had 3 times to say that they released Steele from the FBI to doing anything with him. They never told the court that either.
So they misled them.
They totally did. McCabe said he never would have gone forward to the FISA court if it wasn't for the dossier itself.
Thank you so much, Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Kevin McCarthy joining us there.